creation of an efficient index to all human knowledge, ideas, and achievements. To the creation, that is, of a complete planetary memory for all mankind.
He was one of the early inventors of science fiction. The idea of time travel, the possibility of invisibility, of intergalactic struggles. And then he came up with ideas of how we might reorganize the knowledge apparatus of the world, which he called the world brain. For Wells, the world brain had to contain all that was learnt and known, and that was being learnt and known.
If you have access to anything that's been written, not just theoretical access, but like instant access next to your brain, that changes your idea of who you are.
It is Tuesday the 25th of February 2014. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is the Unpenned Show, live around the world on Awake, Shaziz and the Blog Talk Networks. However you're joining us, thank you very much for doing so.
Good evening to everybody, yeah.
2 hours every Tuesday night to actually say things how we see them, not how we watch them in Neverland.
Yep.
Our chance to add our little bit into the soup, the information soup, that needs the finest of sieves for the discerning taste. Because without it, you're going to eat absolutely anything, aren't you?
Yeah, you certainly are.
And this is what's happening. We've been fed a diatribe, a stream, an absolute never-ending flow of BS. It's got to be all, in some part or most part, rubbish.
Yeah.
And we say this every week, and we'll keep saying it every week because it is the reason why we do this. If you're not dealing in reality, you're not dealing in reality. And reality is not online. Even the devil is so clever. He is so clever. We've talked about it week after week after week, about how we're programmed to not only make copies of ourselves, but to copy anything that we like.
Yeah.
We call it making an impression, don't we?
Yeah.
And it makes an impression upon us, and then we do an impression of it. And if we look at what we know is coming this year, which is the inevitable ad of Google Glass. And why is it called glass, not glasses? Because it is glasses. And people say it's because there's only one screen with the information on. Correct, at that level. Our entire lives, and I can only speak for myself, I've been asked to look through their window to the world. Not my own. All information has been given to me by my window on the world, however I see it.
Yep.
Right back to the play school days.
Yeah.
Which window do you want to look through today? Is it the round window? Is it the square window? Or is it was it rectangular? What was the last, the third one? I'll have to have a look. I've looked that up.
Arched window.
The arched window. Arches are interesting, aren't they? Arches. We live in a sun and sea system. In other words, it's a cement system that holds us all together. What goes in your eyes and your ears is guaranteed to come out in the flow, the stream of language that you constantly transmit. And this old understanding of language, which isn't old at all, it's just alien to us, because we've never been taught it, have we?
No.
We weren't taught how to connect everything together. We weren't taught to see how the world really works. We were told how the world works. Shut up, sit down, and repeat after me. And the arch, or the dome that we live under, is nothing more than the travel of the sun. And we talked about the travel of the sun last week.
Yep.
And that is the overarch. That is the arch, the rainbow. That is the dome, as I say. It's the time of the day, the Horus. I mean, how? I mean, the opening Sochi, closing, sorry, Olympic ceremony. They were rowing boats through the sky. It's the same story around all the Western world and much of the Eastern world as well, which is where this story comes from. Nearly every major town and city, or I think I dare say, every major town and city, has got a great big penis in it.
Yeah.
But it's called an obelisk.
An obelisk, yeah.
And apparently it's a war memorial, and that's just that then. That's just that then. But it's not true at all. It's not true at all. It is the very phallus to prove the control system's control over that city or that town.
And they're usually outside the town hall.
Or the market square. Where the town hall would be.
Yeah.
And if you look at the the summer shadow, always shadows towards town hall entrance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We will probably never understand, to the extent that I wish we could understand, that this is a shared experience-based system. And I know the majority of people that I get to speak to who are trying to enable change, they're always wanting to tell me about the news. They're always wanting to tell me about the next fight that we have to take up, even though we didn't take the last one up.
Yeah.
They always try and guilt me into, you must support this worthy cause, even though you didn't support the last one. We're going to have a 1 million man march on London for the umpteenth time, and we're going to arrange it through Facebook. And it has failed so many times. We're becoming lazy, and that laziness is being passed on to our children, who in the most part can't even be bothered to learn to drive. They can't be bothered to have kids. The dreams of houses are over. It's a life of rent.
Yeah.
And they don't even have it, for the most part, the aspirations to want more. They don't actually want more. Did we cause that? Did we cause that?
I must have done, yeah.
We must have allowed it.
I've allowed it it to happen, yeah.
Have we spoiled our children?
Yes.
To spoil is to not teach them how to compete and win.
Yeah.
Because in this it's the taking part that counts.
Yeah.
Prizes for everybody. That we knew what they were doing to us, and we still let them do it. We still watched them do it right in front of our very eyes, and then moaned about the fact that they did it.
Yeah.
That's like going to a restaurant, knowing the price of the meal. It arrives, you eat it, and then complain about the service and the price.
Yeah.
You got what it said you were going to get, and you knew you were going to get, and you still complain about it. Isn't that in some part true of the people we meet at this level?
Yeah.
They've got what they're going to get. They were told this is what they're going to get, and then they whinge about it because that's what they got. In a country of however many million people, it's not going to be consisting of all winners. It can't consist of all winners unless we accept the next level of socialism, which is that we're not all winners, we'll actually be all losers.
Yeah.
But is it not those that have got nothing that endlessly criticise those that have got something? Is this a good idea? Is this going to work? Just a conversation that I had today. I was going to be criticised for being successful and being able to pay my bills. I was going to be criticised for taking part in the system. But I wasn't, because I stopped it. I was probably going to be called a capitalist, but I employ people and not only generate enough to pay them well. They're happy. They've been here many years, some of the staff that I employ.
Yeah.
I provide local employment and a local service that I'm very lucky that the people who live around me are happy to support. Now that's business at a good level. They're happy to work with me, and I'm happy to give them what they come for. I employ people, I generate profits, I invest in my staff, I invest in new equipment, and I invest in my own future. And yes, how embarrassing do you think I'm going to be to say, yeah, I pay my bills, yeah? Because you can't fight this system if you can't save yourself.
No.
You can create a persona where you are kidding yourself that you're saving somebody, that you're helping somehow. But if you're not in the system and you don't want to be in the system, then that's absolutely fine. Why criticise a system that you don't want to be in? Why don't you go find like-minded people and go get on with your lives? Because I don't like people bothering me. I like people to get along with me, because I'm not argumentative, but I am firm, and I will stand my ground, and if I disagree with you, I'll say, look, I disagree. We can talk about it all you like, but you're not going to change my mind. It's not very popular, that, is it? It doesn't go very well, that.
No. And you can't fight while you're on your knees.
Nobody ever fought while they're on the knees.
Nobody's ever fought on the knees.
And you've got to stand up and prop yourself up. We talked about this last week as well. And yes, I'm a little bit rattled in a way that, what do these people expect? If you want to live in an alternative system, go do so. But don't criticise the people who have been successful in this one. Because without their help, you've got nothing. You've got nothing. These people aren't sheeple. They're doing the best to get along. They're doing the best they know how. They're not sheeple, they're victims. That's what they are, really. And it's taken me a long time to understand these people are victims. But as this wheel turns for me every day, the wheel of fortune only has one way, and it's forwards, not backwards. It can't go backwards. There's no time in history it's going to go backwards, and it's not going to go backwards today. I know what's been done to these people because it was done to me.
Yeah.
And the only way I managed to escape the prison, the invisible bars and the control system, and do you know what it was? It was just actually being on my own. It was actually being on my own and asking the questions that we should ask, the questions that other people can't answer. Those is how it started for me. I watched 9/11, I watched the towers fall. I had a question then about how can that happen? It doesn't make sense. My previous career in the fire service told me that doesn't make sense at all. That's not the way metal collapses under heat. It twists and turns. It doesn't fall like that. But I never went any further with it. It was only the banking collapse that made me figure out that I didn't understand this money system at all. We talk about the bubbles that we can burst along the way, and we can try and help people along a little bit, because this is a journey. And along your journey, and I hope you're on it, and I hope you're enjoying it. It's not pretty, but it should be the ride of your life. It should be a discovery of new knowledge, of things you didn't know, but you should feel you should now know them. It should be exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking. It should be embarrassing, but it also should be empowering.
Yeah.
It should have ignited a feeling of why didn't they do this to me at school? Why didn't they teach me that knowledge was something that I could learn to love? Why did they never let me find what I enjoyed? Why did they always make me think that history was boring and I had to remember crazy dates and an endless list of events that I now find out why? And then you know the answer. I'm asking the questions that made me search the answers. And it made me realise that the system is only interested in enriching itself.
It is.
At our cost.
At our expense, yeah.
If you ever meet a rich person that wants to make you rich, I'll find you 1,000 that don't. This is to keep us down, keep us weak, keep us stupid, keep us dumb, and keep us hungry.
Yeah.
And that's what we've always lived under. We've just never understood it till now. I watched a film from 1985, I think it was. Emilio Estevez was in it, and it was called... Oh, I'm rubbish with this. It just won't stay in my head. I do my best, but it was from the 80s, and it was about Emilio Estevez and Demi, and they sort of became a Bonnie and Clyde, and they were holding up banks, but they weren't stealing the money. They were actually burning the mortgage documents, because at that time banks were holding the mortgage documents on paper, and they were raiding the banks and setting fire to all the files that had mortgage documents in them. So the people, and this is 1985, so the people, the farmers, the homeowners that were finding life hard, the banks didn't have the paperwork to actually foreclose their homes and take them away. And the film went on to these two were being celebrated. It's only a story, it's a Hollywood thing.
Yeah.
But 1985, remember?
Mm-hmm.
That's not 10 years ago, it's not 20 years ago.
Oh.
Okay, it's almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's a film that was made in 85. I will put it below this YouTube video that this will be turned into tomorrow. It's the same story being played on different people. And it took us a long time to learn that the rabble at the bottom, us, the unhappy masses, they need us to speak out so they can demonise us, to bring in new rafts of control.
Yeah.
They need us to shout and bawl and blame and complain. When we're too lazy now to actually riot ourselves, so the London riots of 18 months ago, you tell me they were real. You tell me they were real and I'll say, okay, I'd never seen anything where the police and the firemen stand back under orders and let it all happen.
Let it
I've never seen anything like that before.
No.
I don't know the London riots were staged, but I know there probably was something wrong with them. There's plenty of evidence in Neverland that there was something wrong with them, but my eyes told me, and the way it was reported, and the way that they tried to get them going in Sheffield and Birmingham.
Yeah.
Right? But it was enough. It was enough to bring on the new laws and to scare the sleeping.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It did work for that, yeah.
And it's very hard for us to accept that our own government works against our best interests every which way they can. It's easy in a flippant way to say, well, they're just corrupt and they're just feathering pigs in the trough, feathering their own nest, that sort of thing. But it's more than that, isn't it? It's actually, there's more to it than that. That's what we're meant to think. It turns us off politics. It turns us away from concentrating on what it is that they're doing. It makes us ignore what they say and assume that everything that they're saying is wrong. Well, it's not strictly true, is it? Now, I want to play a little bit from an Irish politician.
Yeah.
What was the lady's name? I can't remember it was.
Claire Daly, she's called.
Claire Daly.
Yeah. And listen to the passion in her voice. This really got me.
Yeah, for people to say that all politicians are bent, I'm not having that.
No, me neither.
Okay,
there are some good ones out there.
There are good people who go into politics hoping to change things.
Yeah.
And too often, it's the politics that changes them. But I want you to play this. This is quite a long clip, actually. It
is a long clip.
It's 6 minutes, and we don't normally do this in the show. But if this lady was stood up in our Parliament here in England, right,
I'd be right behind her.
Well, I'd actually write to her.
I would, yeah.
I'd email her.
Which a teacher has.
And I'd ask to say, how can I get involved with what you're doing?
Yeah, me too.
Because the language that she uses here is the very language that we have to use. We don't normally play 6-minute clips on the show.
No, but this is worth listening to. Listen to this lady. She's brilliant.
It's about Ireland, remember? So some of the facts and figures
are not pertinent to us,
but the methodology is the same.
It is, yes.
The method, who they really work for. Listen carefully. Listen.
Elections, it must be a real case of the pupil becoming the master, and ye have in fact become more Fianna Fáil than Fianna Fáil itself. And I think that contribution was a fitting conclusion to Act 1 of the annual budget pantomime, when we sit here through set pieces and mock indignation and all the drama and all the hype, but everybody knows how it's going to end up before it even starts. And unlike the real grim fairy tale where Granny is found actually alive and well, this tale is far grimmer, where the wolf doesn't just eat Granny, but Grandad as well, new mothers, medical card holders, estranged parents who are trying to look after their children and support the other parent who are going to lose a one-parent family tax credit for non-principal parents, and of course particularly for our young people who are unfortunate enough not to have a job. Now, this is your third budget. Many people would have hoped that it would have been third time lucky, but clearly not for most ordinary people in this state. And of course, if you are wealthy this morning, you're actually going to be even wealthier going to bed tonight. And you see, you can dress this up all you like, that this is a battle to get our economy back on the road, that we're all grappling with an economic crisis. That actually isn't true. What has taken place here has been a counter-revolution, where social policy has been stood on its head, and your government embarked on the path of neoliberal capitalism, of eroding public services, of driving down wages and living conditions, and no wonder the EU establishment is proud of you. And while we would expect that of Fine Gael, we certainly would not have expected it in this, the 100th year of the 1913 lockout. And I find it an insult that you've been talking about tackling a dependency culture. Not the real dependency culture of the banks on the taxpayer, not the dependency culture of the elite in this society who act as parasites on everybody else, not talking about the dependency culture of the multinational corporations who use this state to bleed us dry and who walk away without paying their share of tax. Instead, you choose to scapegoat underprivileged young people. You talk about activation measures as if the responsibility for unemployment rests with the unemployed. What an absolute joke. You claim you created 34,000 jobs last year, and that's what you're going to do next year. Nothing about the 33,000 who were driven out of this country. Nothing.
Created the jobs. Governments don't create.
You certainly don't. Other governments have, but you're dead right there. Ye certainly haven't. And with 500,000 people almost unemployed, we'll be waiting 20 or 30 years at the rate you're proposing to deal with it, and many of us will be long dead. You are driving people into scam labour schemes to massage the figures. Your policies have failed, and your solution is more of the same. We've had to listen to, the miracle minister Houdini Howland tell us that he's going to pull off the miracle of more teachers, more nurses, more doctors, midwives and Gardaí. Not that you need too many more Gardaí, there were 65 of them alone on Merrion Street. But that said, while at the same time driving down the public service pay bill by €500 million. Now, how is this genius going to accomplish this miracle? The only way you can do it is by a race to the bottom, of slashing public sector wages, which your own budget statement reveals has gone on, of outsourcing decent jobs, of yellow packing, of driving down wages in the private sector. And what's the result? With less money in people's pockets, then there's less money for people to spend on business and so on. And the figures that you mention of 30,000 for social housing, that isn't a start. It isn't. It's a fig leaf. It's a bit like prescribing Panadol to somebody who has 2 broken arms, 2 broken legs and has been shot in the head. You know what? The Panadol might help the headache for a minute or two, but it's not going to solve the problem. And the problem is that you've taken billions out of this economy, as have your predecessors before you. Minister Howland puts his chest out and talks about an education budget of €8.7 billion. He says nothing about the €8.5 billion that we will be paying on interest on the national debt. Who's paying that price? Children in your department, Minister, because while you might make a big claim about not dealing with class sizes, do you know what you have done? You've created a hellhole for teachers and for students. A letter here from a teacher in my own constituency. We coped pre-cuts because children and teachers had support systems to make it workable, even if it wasn't desirable. But now she talks about the loss of learning supports, the loss of special needs support, of English as a second language, and on and on and on, which means and the cuts are still there and rising, and it is unfair to children to deal with that. You see, I think ministers in here have themselves immunised in their cosy little club in here that you don't actually know what's going on outside these doors, because if you did, you would realise to take away mortgage interest supplement when so many families are about to lose their homes is absolute lunacy. Now, unfortunately, we don't have much time, but I think it's somewhat ironic, you know what, that you can come in here on some evening and change the law overnight, keep us here to the early hours when you're looking at dealing with a new burden on the taxpayer, but you can't bring in any measures to deal with the wealthy. You can't tackle a small wealth tax that would allow you to cancel the home tax. You couldn't bring in a measure of a 1.5% increase on the top 10% of earners, which would yield you an extra 400 million. You deal with some aspects on the pension, but not the whole lot of it. The reality here is you will be judged by how many people are at work, and on that you will flounder, because there can be no economic recovery without job creation. That cannot be left to the private sector. Only a state-led programme will do it, and you've failed terribly.
The second segment of our show then. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is the Unpenned Show, live on Awake Blog Talk and the Shaziz Network as well.
Yeah, thank you to Awake. Thank you.
Our Facebook contacts will be below this video, the YouTube video that will be created into tomorrow. The music is always emitted from the YouTube video, but the entire show via Blog Talk is available for listen to on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Well done to that Irish MP, that lady MP.
She's got my vote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we just need to listen to the voices that make the most sense to us. And the first voice we need to listen to is our own.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it gets a little bit difficult for a lot of people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because the more time you spend online, you're being caught. All right? You're actually being caught. The word online isn't a needless word. It could be called anything, but it's called online. You're being caught by the system because it always wants you to shout at what's going on now. It doesn't want you to learn history in a way that you can use it to predict the future. It doesn't want you to connect the control systems that they have in place. And the number one control system is the words you're saying. Now, I know I say this every week, and very, very few people are picking up on the word association and how it really works. I don't know how else to get people to at least take words to pieces and look at them a little bit closer. Some people get mixed up with the right back to the Greece is the word.
Yes.
And believe me, Greece is the word. It's the way we are feeling. It's the emotion. This is where this game really started. It is the time, it's the place, it's the motion. Greece is the way you were feeling. Make no mistake, it is. This language is only the best version of what's always existed.
Mm.
And we need to use it powerfully.
We do.
And we need to use it in a way that people feel it.
Mm.
It has to have feeling.
As Claire did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It has to have power and emotion and feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You can broadcast all day, but nobody will remember what you said.
No.
Unless you made them remember how they felt when you were saying it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the difference that most people don't have.
No, I don't have it. I wish I had half the passion that lady has when I speak. I really do, because that, if you want to aspire to something, that you need to aspire to that.
But a lot of people would have said, she's a member of a political party and must not be trusted. It's because they're deaf. Right? Those people really are deaf and dumb. Okay? It doesn't matter which party she's in.
No, I don't even know what party she's in.
I don't even need to know what party she's in. She's saying the right things.
Yeah, she's making me listen.
Now, if we always find a reason not to promote people who are saying the right things, then we'll always stay where we've always been, and we'll always get what we've always had. And do you know what I've come up to? I think we're okay with that.
I think, yeah, we're comfortable.
I think we are just the spectators, and we like it that way. I mean, I laugh sometimes, you know, when especially when the football talk gets going. When they're talking about the Premier League in particularly, about Manchester United and Man City and the managers and the guys you can get talking, right, they always, I think Sven-Göran Eriksson, when he was England manager, he came in for the most stick about what they would do if they were manager. Okay? And they speak in such a way that their view is equal to the manager. In other words, if I could speak to David Moyes, I would tell him this because he needs to know this because I'm right. Okay? Now, this is where a regular guy, making 20 grand a year or whatever, okay, feels completely equal to David Moyes, who's making probably £500,000 to £1 million a year. Now, it's not that he doesn't have the right to say what he wants. It's that he thinks it's valid. This is where we fall flat on our faces.
It is, yeah.
You see, if you had a valid opinion, and if it did have value, you'd be a football manager.
Mm-hmm. You'd be his right-hand coach.
You'd
or
actually
somebody like
be
that.
there.
Yeah, you would, yeah.
So, for the purpose of conversation, for the purpose of enjoying and passing the time about things you can't change, I can listen, but I smile quietly. You're not a football coach. You're just a welder down the road. And I know that you truly think that if David Moyes would just take a little bit of advice from you, his life would be better. And I can't tell you you're wrong, but you're wrong to think that you're right. Do you see what I mean?
I do, yeah, yeah.
And that's what happens on here. We don't realise the politicians want us to shout at them.
They do, yeah.
They want us to look at them and feel that they are not fit for purpose. They don't mind if we're shouting at them about the realities that they've created, because we're becoming so dumb now and so unable to really figure out how the world works, that when you have in the Telegraph from Charlie Booker the admission, right, the very admission that the flooding of the Somerset levels was deliberately engineered. Okay?
Yeah.
And the alternative truth guys and girls, they discovered this about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I saw the article myself. The 2005 European document that said that they would basically Somerset should be artificially promoted because wildlife will benefit from increased water levels. Now, I know people are sat at home saying Agenda 21. I know that. And I know some people are sat at home saying, well, it's not that many houses really. It seems a good trade-off for what they're trying to achieve. There's very few people compared to what happened in Hull about 4 years ago. I mean, Hull got absolutely flooded.
Yeah.
Everyone's forgotten about that.
Or Sheffield.
Or Sheffield, exactly.
Saw that, yeah.
So, I realise that, but that's not the conversation we should be having.
No, it isn't.
Look, the conversation we should be having is, they did it on purpose. Right? They did it on purpose.
This has been engineered,
right?
Is the conversation
exactly.
we're having.
They did it on purpose. And if there was a good solicitor lawyer out there with a backbone, okay, he'd be suing them.
He would, yeah.
He'd be suing the people for the damage they've caused intentionally. It's not in the news, is it? It's not there, is it?
No.
We're not talking this way, are we?
No, we're not.
The BBC aren't doing this.
No.
And yet, the admission is that they did it. They allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
This is how they get away with this, isn't it? They actually allow it to happen.
Yeah. And then the goal tonight to be interviewing the Netherlands, and they built when they were building a car park, they decided while they were building the car park, they might as well build a flood defence under the car park, so that when anything flooded, the car park could be up. And this car park is underground. It's an underground car park, and while they were building the underground car park, they're excavating it. Right, while we've got the excavation out, let's put a big bloody drain underneath it as well, so all the water can go underneath it. And sure enough, when the sea levels rise and they get heavy rain, the water goes underneath the underground car park. The Netherlands. I think we haven't got the Netherlands, we've got the nether regions, which means they're all talking a load of
ballcocks.
Yes, that as well, yeah.
It's very strange times that we've got to, and I don't quite know how to keep broadcasting where we are, because it's starting to feel a bit ridiculous. You see, it's like, why is nobody standing up? Why? Where's our numbers? Where's our supporters? Where's the instinct? Where's the I've had enough of this? Where are those people?
Yeah.
I know the answer. I do know the answer. It's called survival. And I'll survive regardless of anybody else.
Yeah.
Because we don't have tribes anymore, do we?
No.
Well, we do have tribes in the way that we have fashion tribes and football tribes. But they're not real tribes.
No.
They just go to events, collectivise together, watch the event, then go home individually. So we're not tribal in the way that we used to be.
No.
We don't look after each other's backs, that sort of thing.
Not anymore.
I mean, the decimation of the public houses in this country was... what a sorry sight that is to see.
The illusion is, though, with too much to lose. Oh, I'll lose my car, if I lose my income, lose my house. The thing is, you don't own it anyway. You don't own... This is the realisation that I've come to my own head. It doesn't matter. I don't own it anyway. I've got a bit of paper. I've signed an agreement. I do own my own car. That's paid outright. But
only if you follow the rules.
But I've got to follow the rules.
And when they change the emissions limits...
Yes.
Okay, when they tighten the emissions limits, eventually you'll have a perfectly good working car that you won't be able to use.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And the EU are having a nobble at that with the diesel emissions and all that. When I read that, I thought, oh, God, here we go.
But we're so far away from where we should be.
We are so far away.
You cannot engineer a conversation now and talk about where we are without having to sit people down and say, I need to tell you how we got here. I need to tell you why we got here. And I need to tell you an awful lot of things that you're not going to be happy listening to. It doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work.
No.
An entire society
doing
the wrong thing.
Convinced
they're doing the right thing.
But my kids are in the 20s now, and my kids came round for pizza on Friday night, and I was trying to talk to my daughter, and I'm trying to talk to her, and it's the believing of everything of global warming and this, that and the other, and my kids have no desire to learn how to drive. They don't see any need to learn how to drive.
They won't have to.
And this is what they've been told they won't have to. Everything, and my son gets everything delivered he just orders everything off the internet, blah, blah, blah. But it was, I stopped myself from lecturing them, because they're not going to listen to that. They're going to switch off, as I did. They've got to make these mistakes. They've got to go through the process.
But you've got to get them through faster.
Yes, but
this is what we do this for.
It is.
To try and get them through faster.
But they won't,
No,
because they've got a bit of paper.
But they also don't have the rites of passage we had.
No.
Now, how many different jobs have you had? Quick count up.
9, 10, something like that.
I'm doing it in my own head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Similar.
Similar.
So, and they haven't all been doing the same thing.
No.
Okay?
My
first job was fitting tyres and exhausts. My second job was an office job. I'm saying office job. It was working for the Ministry of Attack in an office, right? Doing about half an hour to 45 minutes work a day, and having to. It's awfully hard filling the time doing nothing in particular, isn't it? I ran out of things that I couldn't find to do. Anyway, second job, office job. Third job. Memory's going a little bit. Van driver. Fourth job. No, fast food worker first. Van driver. Then what did I do? Fireman. Part-time fireman. Chip shop owner. Professional DJ. Back to chip shop land. Mobile phone. I tried to be a mobile phone...
entrepreneur.
Well, I actually tried to buy one of the gateways that processes text messages in 1999, 2000. And you could buy the gateways and insert text messages yourself. Because at that time, 98, 99, I believe we were buying text messages in bundles. And I learned how to do the picture messages. And I'll do the ringtones. One of the first people in the country to learn how to do ringtones.
Crazy Frog, I remember.
I claim, although I can't prove it's true, I claim I actually created the first ever Harry Potter ringtone. It wasn't that hard, actually. A lot of people figured it out very quickly afterwards as well. Anyway, because there's no regulation, we were just doing it from our house. We got an ISDN line. How things have changed over the years. You had to get a second phone line for the internet at that time. An ISDN line. We were running a server from my house and we were sending ringtones and picture messages from a contract mobile phone that was £10 a month, no matter how many text messages you sent. To stop me in the end.
Yeah.
To stop me in the end. And then back to Chip Shop Land. So that must be 7, 8, 9, I can't remember. But it's those experiences.
Yeah.
It's those different experiences of having to work with people, whether it be in a supervisory or an employee type situation, that teaches you all about working life. Life really is figuring out how people work, isn't it?
Yeah. What I found, it was usually you're working for an idiot, and they'd have a meeting.
But you always put the idiots in charge.
You did.
You don't put a good worker in charge of good workers, because he'll be too nice to them. Right? Workers work, okay? Now, what you need is, you need the slightly psychopathic one. The one that will actually obey the boss's orders without question.
Yeah.
He's not quite as bright.
No.
And before he goes to work every morning, he looks in the mirror and says, I can't believe I've got this job. But now I've got it, I'm going to do it the best I can. So when his line manager says, we need the slacking down there, and it's your job to encourage them to work harder.
Yeah.
Now, we think there's 5 and 10% more. I need you to tighten up on the times, tighten up on the attendances, tighten up on the lunch hours, and say to the guys, there's a bonus in this if we can get this contract finished. And I want you to try and get this contract through 10% faster. And if you do, there'll be a small bonus for the guys and a bigger bonus for you. And the guy who says, I got it, boss. You leave it to me, boss. I got it. That's the one that gets the promotion. Because he just says, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. A good worker, you don't take them off the lines. They're not designed for promotion.
No, they're not.
Okay, they're no good for promotion.
No.
They'll ask questions and fight for a good deal for the guys. No good. All right, that's how things stack up. Promote the dumb and stupid, and keep them in the dark, and make sure that you just tell them what to do and they do it. I got it. I got it. I got it. That's all. Well, that's how it works.
The thing I noticed was all your ideas were stolen in these meetings that they had.
Of course they are.
Put it out to, what can we do to do this better and that better? And you'd put your little 2 thing, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, they'd come to you all, not in a meeting, they'd turn up in your dinner break, and they'd say, right lads, I've had an idea, and we're going to do this.
But everybody knows that's how it works.
And you'd be sat there going, hang on a minute, we had a meeting, that was my idea.
But everybody knows that's how it works.
No, but you've got to have it done. You've got to have had one done over on you.
Right? Yes, I see what you're saying.
You've got to be done over first of all to realise. Hang on a minute. I've not been recognised for the idea I have.
That's what you're there for, isn't it?
Yes.
You're there. That's why Google employ kids, right? In Google's main headquarters, I think in California, I can't remember. In Google's main headquarters, the ground floor is pretty much a fairground with rides and slides, and they employ kids. They employ the geeks. Not just the geeks, but the ones that are out-of-the-box thinkers, the ones that are... we started off this evening with H.G. Wells, in 1937, talking about creating the world brain. And that's what Google are doing.
Yeah.
They're doing the work of God.
Yeah.
They're trying to become God itself.
I wrote down the actual words were, change the idea of who you are.
That's right. That's the idea. That's what Google Glass is for. Okay, this is the always-on service. If we could look into the future, it's going to be very, very simple, because Google Glass, once we get over the uncomfortableness of what Google Glass can do, and it will come, because the younger end, they're going to absolutely love them. But at the price they are now, they're a bit designer. 985 quid, I think they are right now. Now, there's a story online, which is just a story, but I suspect I would feel this way, and that is that a girl in San Francisco who was market researching and testing the glasses walked into a bar, and she was basically asked to remove the glasses, because a lot of the people there were aware that should she have the facial recognition app and should she have the record device on, then this was recording everybody without their permission. This was an invasion of privacy that was unacceptable. And she said she wasn't actually doing either of those things, but the story goes on to tell us that the glasses were taken off her, and it was found that she was doing those things. Now, it doesn't matter if that's real or not, but it gives me an uncomfortable feeling of that's how I thought I would feel the first person to walk into my shop with Google Glass on, the glass is on, but it's just called glass because we're going to live behind glass. We're going to live in a bowl. We're going to live in a dome. But we'll come back to that another time. I don't know how I'm going to feel when I'm looking at these glasses. And I know these glasses are looking right at me. And they have the ability to face scan me and to record me. Now, whether that person's actually activated the record vocally, which they can do, I suspect, maybe just in the trial period, but I suspect they'll be recording everything. I suspect they will.
Yeah.
Because I would.
It'll be sold to us in it's for your safety.
Well, it'll be for your own. It'll be for your own
good.
Surety. And what I mean by that is, if anyone's seen Black Mirror, okay, there is an episode of Black Mirror in the first 3, I think it is, the first season, where I think it's the 3rd program, where they can rewind.
Yes,
they can rewind.
Got a memory chip in their brain.
Yes, they have, and it's been put on the side of their head, and they can rewind to a circumstance in history in the past. Where you can say, well, you said this, well, you said that, well, you said this. Say, hang on, let's go back and check what actually happened.
And what was said.
Yes, and they'll be able to rewind and go check and see what really happened. These are going to be a real designer edition. I mean, they're going to be more popular than you'd ever believe. Because I've read the comments below the news stories. I read the comments below a video that I've posted on my Facebook page. People are just can't wait for them to come. And what will happen is they'll be wearing these glasses, and these glasses, whatever app it is you're using or whatever it is you want to know, these glasses can talk to you as well, but only you can hear the audio. The audio is delivered behind your ear to you at a frequency that goes through your head, and only you can hear. And you can basically talk to this machine. Now, they say the voice app is pretty rubbish at the moment and it doesn't work very well, but I'm sure they'll have that ironed out when they're ready. And what I'm saying is that this two-way conversation you can have with what is nothing more than a pair of glasses with a little screen on, it's going to change us in a way that I don't think people are really understanding. Because if I'm in conversation with you, for example, right, and this conversation's been audio listened to, let's not say recorded, it's been listened to, so my Google Glasses are listening to this conversation, I'm sure I'll be able to say, send me information relative to the conversation. So should you and I be chatting about, like we were today, about the First World War, did the German Navy actually sail right up the northern coast and bomb Scarborough? And we were like, well, I don't know, did they? So we actually went online and found it, and yes, they did. We weren't sure that would, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll have that to hand. And I might not tell you that Google's just given me that information. I might say, oh, I've read about that. See, I'm not lying. I've read about that. It was Scarborough. It was December 1914. About 27 people. Let me think. About 27 people, I think it was. And they didn't stop there, you know. They sailed on, had a crack at Whitby, and then they met the rest of the flotilla that had a crack at Hartlepool. And you think I'm so blooming smart. You think I'm really clever.
Yeah.
And it's been given to me here.
Yeah.
It's been given to me just above my right eye.
Will they be banned from pub quizzes?
There won't be such a thing as pub quizzes, will there? But the next thing's going to happen as well, and that is that for such as Fight Book and places like that, or situations where you don't know somebody so well, you'll be able to speak again to your two-way talk to me system. Say, give me something appropriate I can see. Now I can see what comment they've put there. Have a look and see what you've got for this subject about Scarborough 1914. What else have you got relevant to that? Let me have a look at some of the comments. Okay, now just change that a little bit for me. And if you'll just post that comment for me, yes, that's fine. What I'm saying is that this is a level of copying that we've never had before.
Yeah.
Now, people who go online may or may not admit this, but they copy. That's all they do is copy. Maybe not directly, but by copying, you're only repeating something that somebody else has told you. And I know people who go online and they look at a comment, a thread on Facebook, and they think, "I'll go research that. Don't think that's right, and I want to put my 2 pence worth in." So they'll go online and research it. they'll find a little bit of information, then jiggle it about a bit, then they post it as if it's their comment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't give the original any recognition. Some of the people who put the famous Facebook sayings, you know, if it's a Facebook slogan, it's true. Right? It doesn't matter who wrote it. if it's on Facebook and it's written in slogan speak, okay, and there's a name after it, it's true. Nuts, really, because it isn't. I mean, but anyway, a lot of people are sort of. There's one or two people I know who are like, they don't give the originators of these credit, you know. They don't give them credit, you know. I've got somebody on my Facebook page who does enjoy putting these sort of things on, and she just writes what she wants. This is how I see the world. Copyright and her name, so nobody else can take it. Mm-hmm. And she gets a little bit annoyed when other people don't do that. That's absolutely fine. But on the bigger level, where we're going to, what I'm trying to roundabout sort of way as usual, what I'm trying to say is, we're not going to be allowed to copy like that anymore. No. We're going to get into trouble. Mm-hmm. Because copyright, okay, is what you'll have to pay. Mm-hmm. You copy it right and accept it as such. If you copy it wrong, you're going to get into trouble.
You're going to
get into trouble, that's right.
Yeah.
So if you copy it wrong and pretend it's your own, you're going to get into bother. And I don't know how far this copyright and copy wrong is going to go, but it'll go as far as they can take it.
Yeah.
And I know that because the lady in red told me that 14 months ago.
She did,
There was a lawyer.
Telling me, yeah.
She was a lawyer. Now, I don't know if I've told this story. I'm sure I have.
I think you have, yeah.
Yeah, a lady in red from London. She was a lawyer, but she was a copyright lawyer. And she gave me a sweet smile when she told me that I'm involved in the copyright laws. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you copy wrong, you're going to be in trouble. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Definitely.
3 minutes to 10.
It is.
I thought it was about 9:30.
It just flies by. My nan used to say, when you get past 21, your life flies by. When I was 18, I didn't believe her. Got to 21. 22 came. And it's flown by ever since.
It's February the 25th. It feels like January 11th to me. I'll tell you, that's what it feels.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
To take something in.
Okay, excellent. To absorb. Anyone?
Everywhere, all the time.
So what is ubiquitous assimilation?
Always absorbing everything, everywhere, all the time.
Well done, George. How are you to imagine anything if the images are always provided for you? Who here read 1984 last year? Good. Anyone? Meredith?
Having two opposing beliefs at once and believing that both are true.
Excellent, Meredith. To deliberately believe in lies while knowing they're false. Examples of this in everyday life. Oh, I need to be pretty to be happy. I need surgery to be pretty. I need to be thin, famous, fashionable. Our young men today are being told that women are whores, bitches, things to be screwed, beaten, shit on, and shamed. This is a marketing holocaust. 24 hours a day. For the rest of our lives, the powers that be are hard at work, dumbing us to death. So, to defend ourselves and fight against assimilating this dullness into our thought processes, we must learn to read, to stimulate our own imaginations, to cultivate our own consciousness, our own belief systems. We all need these skills to defend, to preserve.
We certainly do.
Mm-hmm.
For the third segment, then, Tuesday, the 25th of February 2014, this will be turned into a YouTube video tomorrow. All the songs will not be on it. And yet they are a part of our show, aren't they? They are a part of what we do.
Yep.
I played Queen because I like the Queen songs, just the ones in the mid-80s, in the mid-part of the 80s, which are so poignant that they make more sense than any of the other songs I've written. They don't sound like the songs I wrote before, and they could never repeat that success, could they?
Oh.
The songwriting team, supposedly who wrote them, never could repeat that success again. It was just a special moment in time. Or was it? Or was it? We will never know, but it doesn't matter, because that's not what slows us down in our journey, is it?
No.
We look all around and we try and make sense of where we are, why we're here,
why we're here,
why it happened, and what are we going to do about it?
How did we get here?
What are
was
we
the
going to do?
process?
What are we going to do about it? That's what we're interested in. And when we meet people and say, okay, you've obviously got, you know, it is a corrupt system. It is a flawed money system. The medical staff and the medical medicines that we're given, we need to research them ourselves. If you're going to put it in your body, you decide, okay? You decide. Don't let somebody else do it for you. If you let somebody do anything for you, they're going to take an advantage of you, okay? And if you let them do it enough, they're going to take full advantage over you.
Yeah.
And I think we have to accept, in the most part, we've been too trusting.
Yeah, the con has been sent.
Exactly. It is. It's where we are today. We've been too trusting because our parents were.
Yeah.
I mean, your family came from a union background.
They did.
But
yeah.
still, you're here.
Yeah.
And still, you never uncovered the reality until just a few years ago.
Just a few years
so
ago.
even the political activists of the time, from your granddad.
And my great-granddad.
Your great-granddad. All, you know, that's 3 generations. Covering almost, 90 years?
Yeah.
And still, those activists didn't get it.
No.
They didn't get it in the way that we've got it today. Everything can be described as a race. And maybe everything should be described as a race. And in many ways, the internet has given us a chance. Because everything that's ever been known, supposedly, is available to us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to argue about that. The fact is that there's an awful lot of information on here.
We've been played.
But there's an awful lot of information on here that can be used. But the distraction is impossible to ignore, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I mean, how many times have we been in conversations with somebody who I won't mention, and we're having a jolly good conversation, and then a dog is brought into where we are?
Yeah.
Completely gone.
Gone, yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Can't get them back.
No.
Can't get them back. They won't talk to us.
No.
They're just interested in playing with the dog.
Yeah.
And yet, at one point in time, we were having a good conversation.
Yeah.
A dog comes in, conversation over.
Gone. Yeah.
Can't get it. Can't get that back.
I'm with the dog now. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just a little example of what the internet does to us. We talk as if we understand what we're saying, but we don't.
We don't really.
The legalese, boys and girls, they'll tell you that they have developed their own language. And we're aware of it, but we're not really aware of its potency. And you look through legalese definitions, and you think, oh, I've got it. You haven't. The entire language is legalese. The entire language can be spun and used against you. And it is spun and used against you.
Yeah.
Everything has got a positive and a negative mean to it. In the chat box here, we've got possessions. We've done the word possessions before, but it's not a bad thing to talk about. Possessions are something that appears to indicate being possessed. In other words, owned by. Well, if we call our house a possession, and we haven't paid for it, then are we the possessed? Is it only when we've paid in full that we become the possessor? Because the possessed have to do as they're told.
They do, they're controlled.
Well, they are. I mean, controlled. The word troll is something that we've used a long time, especially in this reality. But we don't see it properly, do we?
No.
We don't see it or hear it properly. So possessions is a good one. Creators and reactors is fighters and audience, or shows and audience, or whatever. But we try and get people to understand that you're not creating anything if you're copying it. You might change it a little bit. You might use the X Factor line that you're making it your own. You've made that version your own. It's yours now. Right, it isn't yours. You didn't write the words. Okay, you didn't make the music. You just did a did a posh karaoke version on ITV on Saturday night. Yeah. It's just posh karaoke, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I believe this goes right the way down to the beginning. Let's go with the next big hit TV series that's coming out. It's going to be celebrities teaching people to drive. But doesn't that fit in with the persona vehicle reality? Doesn't it really?
Yeah.
And then the next thing will be celebrity fortune tellers, won't it?
Yeah.
It will?
It will, yeah.
But aren't the stars already fortune tellers?
Yeah.
Aren't they already trying to tell us the fortune?
Mm-hmm.
That little clip from Eddie and Brody from the film Detachment, where he sat in a classroom of students.
I've seen the clip, yeah. I've not seen the film. I'm looking forward to watching it.
We will watch it.
Yeah.
Whenever you get time, we will watch it. It's a very powerful film.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it through twice because I had two sets of people to watch it through with. And the second time was more powerful than the first. I couldn't believe it.
I'm going to say, when you've watched it, when you watch something and then you watch it again, it's
more powerful.
Yeah, you don't. I missed that bit. I didn't get that bit. I didn't see that bit.
Well, it's a bit like the adage of living the same day twice, isn't it?
Mm.
You know, if I could live every day twice, then my first day would be busy doing busy things.
Mm.
But my second attempt at that day would be different because I would know what was coming.
Yeah.
So the little bits that I missed, I could enjoy them a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because aren't our lives been tainted by the theft of time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The money that we have to spend in this reality is nothing more than time.
Mm-hmm. And
our time has been stolen. So we spend it doing things for the system.
Yeah.
And isn't that rush, that pressure, it stops us taking the time of day with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It stops us having a long conversation with somebody. It stops us looking people in the eye. We just don't have that extra second to smile and say thank you and mean it.
Mm.
Because a smile from a stranger is a really valuable thing, isn't it?
Mm.
It really is a valuable thing. A smile from a stranger, I mean, it makes you think that anything's possible. Because when you're actually looking up and looking ahead, as opposed to looking down and feeling down, when you look up and look ahead, you see there's not many people doing that. And when you find somebody who's doing the same as you, which is looking around and not frightened to make eye contact, they automatically smile. Because we do want to be nice. We do want to be popular. And regardless of our personal situation, who can resist a compliment? Who can resist a 2 minutes flirting?
Mm.
Who doesn't like it? Everybody loves it. I know it's the same thing that we say to each other. God, you look great. And God, you look great. You smell great. I'm enjoying talking to you. My day's already a memorable one because I've been talking to you. This all sounds awfully cheesy, doesn't it? It sounds awfully. Who on earth speaks like that anymore? Who on earth does that sort of thing? In fact, if you spoke to most people today like that, they would look at you and consider whether you'd actually harassed them.
Yeah.
What a sad state of affairs, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We have almost got to the point where you can't tell a pretty girl that she's a pretty girl, because she'll somehow think, you're not going to attack me, are you? You're not. It's awful, isn't it? When you just can't be actually complimentary. I mean, you tell me a girl that doesn't like being complimented. You tell me a girl that doesn't really like having a little bit of a flirt. And you know what? It's absolutely harmless. There is nothing wrong with it.
No.
Nothing at all.
No.
It's what makes us feel us. It's how we feel good about ourselves. I mean, just look how much time girls take to get ready. And if nobody notices, what's it all for? I know what it's for. It's for their own security, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is doing it. I've got to look my best.
Yeah. And the competition, it seems strange, doesn't it, that school knocks competition out of people, but it doesn't knock it out of the girls in that regard.
Oh, no.
No, they're
girls will always compete. I mean, if we're really honest,
which is a good thing.
The program for girls hasn't really changed.
No.
The job is to attract a partner. Attract a partner in today's modern world, whoever that may be. To attract a partner to complete what it is they want to achieve with a partner. So it's getting married, having kids, that sort of thing. And their job is to choose. The guys might think they actually get to choose at some point. They never get to choose. The girl always chose you, no matter how much you think you did the picking.
Yeah.
No matter how much you think, you pick the destination, you pick the date, you pick the time, and you pick the venue. You don't. She'll let you for a while, and then she'll tell you where she wants to go and what she wants to do. But only because, and this is where girls get really confusing, because she expects you to be a mind reader. She expects you to know what she wants without directly telling you. It's a tough deal for guys, isn't it? It is a tough deal. Especially when you get married, because the deal changes, doesn't it? The degree of control that you thought you had is completely removed once you got married. And girls are right to do that, by the way. To a point, they're right to do that. The guys do the work, and the girls make it happen. That's how it used to be. But not now, is it? Not now. Now it's both the same.
Well, we've got to compete against each other.
We do. Girls versus boys is something that we're not really used to.
That's just not right.
It's still taking some doing for us dinosaurs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Competing with girls is something that we're not really... We're still not good at that.
No.
But that'll be called... Well, it'll be old dinosaurs. You do realise that, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
That will be sexist. The feminists will be ready to chop our heads off. But we can only say what we see. And we see... I mean, most people our age now, girls our age, if you ask them, has feminism worked out okay for you? They won't always say yes, they won't always say no, but they won't always be sure which is which. They won't be sure which one they want to go with, will they?
No. I just want to share something with you on that now. We were on holiday with some friends, went camping, and we were sat round the campfire and that, and having a few beers, and we got talking about if you won a little bit of money, not $1 million or whatever, just a little bit, maybe 20,000-30,000 or something like that. If you just won it on the lottery or whatever, what would you do with it? And me and Eddie sort of looked at each other and said, I don't know really. I don't know what I'd do. I don't really need a car. And that amount of money wouldn't really buy much these days. So you'd have to really think carefully what you want to do with it. The girls piped up straight away. I know what I'd do with it. What? I'd go in and I'd have a little bit of surgery. I'd have a little bit of a facelift and this, that and the other. And me and Eddie we were gobsmacked. I looked at Eddie and I said, "Did you know that about?" But
both girls are married.
Yes.
So who are the?
Exactly.
It's the mirror, isn't it?
It's the mirror.
It's the mirror.
And
now we don't understand the power of the mirror, do we? We don't understand the power of that mirror.
No.
Now we also don't talk much about how we mirror each other, and yet it's so obvious when people point it out to you.
Yeah.
That when people are talking, they mirror each other. Whether the way they stand, the fold their arms, the gestures, cross the legs,
rub your nose,
whatever it is,
it is yawn.
It is,
yeah.
It's a mirroring, and we either mirror in to complement or to oppose, and you can see it working really well.
Yeah,
it's almost monkey see, monkey do, or monkey don't like it, so monkey won't do it.
Yeah,
but that's what we are, and that mirror, it'll show you what you want to see because you want to see it. It is a magic mirror. Whereas we mirror each other in reality, we mirror ourselves and see what we want to see. We've also heard the stories about the anorexics who still think the mirror makes them look fat.
Yes, yeah.
We've also seen the opposite of that, where the big girls are wearing thin people's clothes and pouring out of every seam. Mm-hmm. It's a tricky fellow, that mirror.
It is.
But it's the only one that you can trust. Mm-hmm. And it does show you the other side, if you're prepared to see the other side. Because when you talk into the mirror on your own, you do get the truth back if you shut up and wait for it.
Yeah.
You know, it shows you both sides. And you need both sides. It's whether you're prepared to accept both sides exist. Because they're both inside you.
Yeah.
You'd like to do the right thing, but you can't because. And if you don't, somebody else will. And it's how it works anyway. And nobody will know. And this is how you get on. And if I don't tell somebody this, I'll have the advantage. And even though I should tell them, and if I don't tell them, they'll probably fail at what it is they're meant to be doing. And I should have passed it on. I can just say I did pass it on, and they haven't remembered. These are excuses we make.
They are.
But are we wrong? What happens if the real universal code is win by any method? You see, we've got a right and fair and proper, gentlemanly idea of how the world should work. But what if the real reality is win at all costs? Deceive to your heart's content. Your job is to win. And if they're prepared to follow your rules, you've got a jolly good chance of beating them. Because you can tell them the wrong way. You can divert them the long way around, while you take the short way around. You can tell them they must look over here for this, and then they must look over there for that. And you've already planted it, and you know it's going to take them forever to find that and that, while you're busy steaming ahead. Isn't that what's been done, really? Isn't that what's always been done?
Always been done, yeah.
Have we always planted the responsibility at somebody else's feet because we're paying them? Have we got mixed up about server and servant?
Yeah, definitely.
You see, if I invite you to come to my house and fix something, then we've agreed a contract.
Yeah.
It's verbal, but I know what you're going to do. And I've said, please come and fix this. And you've said, yes, I think I know what the problem is, and I'll come and fix it Wednesday morning, and it should take no more than an hour or two. We've agreed a contract.
Yeah.
That is a contract. Now, are you contractor or contracted? Which is which? Have I contracted you, or have you contracted me? Well, this way around, I've contracted you.
You have, yeah.
But the way around they do it is they contract us. See, contract is to make smaller. Everything that contracts is made smaller.
It is, yeah.
So how can your servants contract the master? It's a real good delusion that we're in here, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah.
It's a deluge of a delusion. We're being drowned.
We are.
We've been drowned in a flood of debt and ignorance. This is the Noah and the new ark.
Yeah.
But it's not Noah.
No.
It's Knower.
That's the Noah.
That's the Noah. And if you want to survive this flood of debt and death and ignorance, you're going to have to learn how to... well, spending time online isn't going to be a way that you can survive this flood.
No.
The system would like to take everything you've got, and it's going to play every trick it can to get it.
Yeah.
And it always plays the same trick, temptation. It always plays the same bloody card, doesn't it?
It does.
Do we end up walking down the same paths that most people have been down?
I think so.
So how can we expect a different outcome?
I don't know.
How on earth can we expect...
Still seeing the same scenery as they've seen.
How can we expect to walk down the same roads with the same complaints, reading the same signposts, shouting at the same problems along the line?
Yeah.
How can we ever expect something to change?
Red, blue, left, right,
left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Our third and final segment this evening. 10:28.
We haven't got long.
Flies back. Well, goes long. We're half an hour yet. We don't have to. We don't have to rush.
Yeah.
The show seems to have gone in a bit of a sort of mishap this evening. I don't feel like I've been part of it like I usually am. I don't feel like it. You try and think of how can I say that the world isn't a bad place, but there are bad people in it.
Mm.
There are bad people in it, and they aspire to get to the positions of power and control.
Yeah.
You don't want them, and I don't want to be an MP, really. I don't want to be having to make decisions that ruin people's lives, because I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to make the decisions that gave people a chance.
Yeah.
And of course that's why I would never get the job.
Exactly that. Yeah.
But there'll be some people listening and say
that'd be the reason why I wanted to. That's why I want to be. I'd like to be.
But you wouldn't be. You know.
But
it's MPs don't control anything.
They don't.
They're just the puppet show. The
yes
guy
men.
in the stocks for us to throw stuff at. You know, we can throw the apples and the rotten tomatoes and whatever. And when we get sick of them, we just discover that they're just as bad as the last lot, and then we get to vote for a new set of liars.
Yeah.
And we invest in them, and they let us down. And how many times does that have to happen before you give up on the political process completely?
It took a while with me.
But a lot of people, I mean, there's less than 40% of people vote in this country. It's only close to 30%. Well, 30 to 40 anyway, I won't argue. That means there's 60% of people who don't vote for a whole list of reasons. The first one being probably that it makes no difference.
Just the government still gets in.
And they're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It makes no difference. The ones that do vote are the very rich, and they vote with their money because they support whichever psychopath they're involved with. Because it's very clear now the politicians operate independently and only vote as a collective, as a party.
Yeah.
But independently, they've got all sorts of networking going on.
Of course, yeah.
And
fingers in all sorts of pies.
Well, exactly, because the idea is that big business, or even smaller businesses, as you'll find out, once they have an inroad to an MP, they don't lose that connection.
No.
They do whatever it takes to maintain that connection, because an MP will vote a certain way, and if they can influence that vote, then they will reward the MP in a certain way.
Yeah.
It's open blackmail and bribery, and I think it's fair to say that most of the top boys in the top positions are only there because they're already compromised. They're already in some way compromised because they've been allowed to rise to those positions because of the degree of control the bankers have. Harriet Harman's having a terrible time at the moment, trying to distance herself from what was a possible connection with a paedophile ring. And she's getting a little bit annoyed because people keep mentioning it now. But she's trying to distance herself.
She is.
And this is, this is how they get taken down. Right, this little bit in the news didn't turn up by happenstance. Okay, somebody's introduced it into the news and managed to get it published.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time I've seen it.
No.
I saw this very article with Harriet Harman, or at least the reasons why Harriet Harman...
I remember you posting it.
I saw it almost 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's been recycled to bring it around again.
Yeah.
And that's the plan, of course, is to recycle it and bring it round again. It looks like she's going to get tarred. Because we always tar and feather them, don't we?
We do, yeah.
She's getting tarred now, which means that she's probably not going to get a lot further at the moment. But I actually truly believe that when they do take a hit in the press, like she's doing, I do believe they go downstairs and high five each other.
Yeah, she's been set a challenge now to get out of it, to prove her worth. They did it with Jeremy Hunt. I can't think what he did before he came to.
I don't follow it. I don't follow it.
I
just know that
deeply enough.
My understanding of the control system is that it is now a full system of control.
It is.
And any MP that is being targeted is either been taught a lesson or challenged to learn one.
To learn one, yeah.
To pass a test.
Man up a bit, yeah. Pass your little...
Well,
it's a little initiation ceremony, isn't it?
Well, the fact is that we couldn't care less because we don't talk about it.
No.
The real truth that I think most people don't want to hear, but it appears to make the most sense to me, is that all these paedophile stories, the child abuse, you don't have to dig very deep to find. There's all sorts of things going on in social services that at least need to be questioned. There's children being taken away from what appear to be perfectly good parents. There's lots and lots of evidence that there's something afoot here.
Yeah.
And we don't choose to even talk about it.
No. I know Robert Green's serviced again, he's been arrested again.
Apparently he's in jail again. I don't know. I don't know.
No.
We spoke about our time at Aberdeen. I think we spoke about it more than once.
We have, yeah.
We went to Aberdeen, was it last April?
Yeah, I think it was.
Was it the April before?
Yeah.
God, bad memories.
You lose track of time, too.
I think it was... No, it must have been the year before.
It must have been the year before,
It must have been the year before, yeah. It was
it will have been, yeah.
It was. It was because it was the week after we went to Greater Manchester Online, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
We said we wouldn't... we did, yeah, it was the week after that, wasn't it?
It was,
yeah.
2 years ago.
2 years in April, yeah.
In April, yeah.
And we went up to Aberdeen.
We did.
On a Sunday morning. We set off from here just after 6 a.m.
Yeah. With telephone numbers and email addresses.
Well, we'd listened to Lou Collins' show.
Yes,
which had Brian Gerrish on.
Yeah.
Roger Hayes.
Yep.
And was it Bill Maloney, I think?
Yeah.
I think them three were on, weren't they? It was a Lou Collins podcast. And they'd said, right, okay, we want people to come to Aberdeen and put on a real show of strength and support for Robert. And we thought, okay, can we do that?
Yeah. And it was over a weekend.
It was a Saturday and Sunday, wasn't it?
Sunday, yeah.
And I emailed Roger and I said, okay, we're going to come up, there'll be 3 of us. We're going to come up. What do you need us to do?
Where we're meeting.
And he emailed back. I think he said that there'd be flyers to hand out. We were going to post flyers, weren't we? To expose the case and to publicise what was going on. And we said, right, okay, we'll be up there. Now, we had an email address and a mobile telephone number, didn't we?
A mobile telephone number.
Now, you actually took the email address.
I did.
And tried to email the address that was given out on Lou Collins' show.
Yes.
And you got return to sender 2 or 3 times.
And
you tried all sorts
every time.
All sorts of move the dot here, move the dot there, write it this way, write it that way.
I got it, yeah.
And it never did work, did it?
No,
it never did work.
Not worked once, no.
And we had a mobile phone number. But we didn't ring it. Because we assumed it would work.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So we said, okay, so Sunday morning, 6 o'clock, we had an email from Roger saying that we were going to hand out flyers. We had a mobile phone number that we'd not rang. And the contact email that they gave us, because I had Roger's before that.
Yeah.
The contact email they gave us had never worked.
That's right.
But we decided to set off to Aberdeen.
We did, and we knew we were going to Aberdeen, but we didn't know where we were meeting because they were keeping that a secret, so none of the press or police could turn up and stop us.
So we figured, didn't we?
Good idea, we thought.
We thought, okay,
we'll
let's
set off.
Let's get there and then ring.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that we hadn't broken the cover or anything like that, or we hadn't. So we'll get there and ring when we get there. We got there about 10 to 11, half 10, 10 to 11, quarter to 11, something like that.
We made good time, because we left at just after 6.
Yep. And straight to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And started ringing the number. No answer.
Well, looking at the prison up on the hillside.
Yeah, we found the prison easy enough.
We could see where the prison was.
Found the prison easy enough. No answer.
Nope.
So we went and got coffee.
We did.
Rang. No answer.
No answer.
Strange this. So then we rang again. Now you can take it from here because we had Roger's number, didn't we?
Yes.
So we rang Roger's number.
But this is before. This is after we'd not got through on the telephone. So we used our brain and said, right, if we were doing it, what would we do?
Yeah.
We'd go to the town centre. Right, they were going to the town centre. Let's go around the town centre.
Well, we figured there'd also be in car parks.
Yes.
We figured the best way of doing this was to use 2 or 3 car parks.
Tesco car park. Right, let's go find Tesco.
Yeah, and I thought if you use car parks, you pull up to a car park, you get a little map, a handful of flyers, go there, hand them out, and meet at this pub when we're done.
Yeah.
We thought that'd be great.
Yeah.
And every hour or so they might move car parks so they couldn't get stopped and pestered.
Yeah.
So we thought that's what they'll do. So we rang the number we were given, which never did get answered.
No.
Then we rang Roger's number. And it went to an answer message
machine.
A charity.
Yeah, it did.
It was a charity, a children's charity answer message.
Because you gave the phone to me and said, listen to that, have I got the right number?
Yeah,
and
I said,
I said, yeah, that's Roger's voice.
Yeah. It was now 11:30, 11:45, wasn't it? So we set off round town. Aberdeen's not a big place.
No, it's not a big place.
It was easy enough for us to ride round town.
It was, yeah.
There was no one there.
No.
Then it was easy enough to check the car parks. There was no one
Nobody there.
Then we looked at the play parks, the swing parks, and we saw a big one when we came in.
We did on the
and
way
we
in.
thought, we were surprised they weren't in there.
Yeah, with the banner up on the railings.
We thought, because that was the main road into Aberdeen, we thought,
yeah,
I'd have put a banner there.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Because that's the way in.
That's right
everyone
off the roundabout and straight into
everyone
Aberdeen.
travelling south is going to come in that way.
Yeah.
And whoever's travelling north is, just coming by boat. So so we thought, no, they're not there. It was now 11:45. We went round town. It was now 12:15, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Went to the jail. We thought, they might be up at the jail.
There was no one there.
Nobody there.
Nobody there.
No.
No. It was now 12:15 Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
We were a bit deflated.
We were
perplexed. We knew we'd gone a long way, and there was no one there.
Yeah.
And we were a bit disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So, 12:30, we gave up.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, that's been a long ride out for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But be proud of yourself, because we did it.
We did, yeah.
3 of us went.
We went to support.
So we set off back home to North Yorkshire, Aberdeen to North Yorkshire. Return trip 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
The phone rang.
Yeah.
My mobile phone rang.
It did.
1:10, 1:15. We were now 45 minutes away from Aberdeen, making good time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a good 50, 60 miles away.
Yeah, we were heading home.
It was Alan Kelly that phoned me up. That's who it was.
It was Alan Kelly, yeah. Whose email address wasn't working.
Correct. And you passed him to me, didn't you? You said you have him.
I did, yeah.
And I sat and I said, hello. And he said, hello. It's, who's this? We've missed your call. And I said, well, it's 3 guys from Yorkshire. We're hoping to join up and help with the leafleting and the publicising of Robert's problems. Well, we've had a few problems. My computer's not been working properly over the weekend, so I've not been able to keep in contact with anybody. And I said, all right, okay. I said, we rang Roger's number as well. Oh, Roger's his phone was flat, and he'd left it in the hotel room. He forgot to bring it with him. And I said, we rang the main number we were given off Luke Ellen's show as well. He said, yeah. He said, we've had a nightmare time. We've had a terrible time. It's a shame he didn't come yesterday, because we had a good day yesterday. Now, where are you guys? I said, we're 40, 50 miles away, 60 miles away even. We're making good time, we're on the way home. Well, what a shame we've missed you. What a shame we've missed you. Thanks, lads, anyway. Clock, done. And I had to believe there was people there.
Yeah.
That's what really happened.
It was. That's our truth. That's what happened. Vouch for that.
That's what happened.
Yeah, we were gutted. We were... In fact, we were saying, if this is the truth movement and this is all we can muster...
But let's get one thing right. There was no one there.
There was nobody there.
Let's get it straight.
Yeah.
There was nobody there.
No, nobody there.
And we travelled over 300 miles north.
Mm-hmm.
And then another 300 miles home again.
Yeah.
Well, 297 I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And let's clear this up. There was no one there.
No.
Not a single person.
Nope.
And that was the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
The alternative truth guys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
supporting a good guy.
That appeal had been sent out throughout the whole of the UK to support Robert.
Yeah.
And supposedly there was buses being hired, and you could get picked up along the way.
Yeah.
And there was going to be a jolly good turnout. And we bloody fell for it, didn't we?
We did.
We thought there was going to be a jolly good turnout. And was there a good... No.
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 There was 3 of us there.
There were me, you and Stuart.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
There was nobody else there.
Nope.
And if someone says, you just missed us, we were just round the corner.
No.
No, you're not, I'm not having that.
No, I'm not having that either.
No, you weren't. They weren't there.
No. Not to take that long to respond
they
to
weren't
a telephone call. Yeah. I know. It was that deflated me that day. That it did one thing for me though, that made me ask more and more questions. That's the only good thing that came out of it for me.
But it was unfortunate. It really ruined it for us, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Yeah.
I want to finish on the fact that this is our lives. Mm-hmm. This is the only one we've got.
It is.
And when today's gone, it's gone.
72 years, and 72 summers.
And looking up in the sky, the scientists today, they can't answer the following questions. They know that there is certainly millions through the telescopes they've got today, and the way they can see it, probably billions of galaxies that could be just like this one.
Mm-hmm.
And the size of our sun relative to what they can see with the telescopes we have today is nothing but a pinprick, and looks like everything else. In other words, they don't know what's out there, and if they do, they're not telling us. They don't know what dark matter is. And when you ask them the questions, could there be intelligent life on another planet? They say, well, there could be, but we can't see it. And sometimes I think that they think that they're in a race as well. If I sat you down because you were a top scientist and I said, we don't know because we don't have the technology available to us if there is life out there. But what if we're in a race and there are other places just like us trying to reach to the stars? They're trying to reach to the stars and colonize them because that's how their species will survive. The Star Trek approach to it. And because we have the very skill, the very gift that we can think and we can invent, and if we can think it, we can invent it, because everything is possible, because everything we can think of over time we can create. So if we can think of how to defend ourselves against others who might beat us in this race, while also developing technology so we can escape this planet and this solar system and move it and have a look at somebody else's, is that the race? Is it to break free from here and go and look around the galaxies before somebody else goes and looks around here? And maybe they won't be friendly, and maybe they might come and try and destroy us. So we have to develop technology, however, whatever the price may be, and whatever the cost to humanity, we must defend the planet and the bloodlines and our very existence. Because if we don't, we'll be negligent in all our duties.
Yeah.
Is it not true that if God created this very life that we live today, He's handed us the ability to take that creation upon ourselves and improve upon it? He's given us the ability to take creation forward from where He started it. So if God did make man in His image, is it time to make man in the image of God? Isn't that the sales technique that works at the higher levels?
Yeah. It's got to be the higher levels, because at this level we're not Star Trek, we're Starstruck.
And we're going to be star bloody dust.
We are.
We're all stardust, apparently. It's true, It is true. The current science thinking is that all that existed was hydrogen and helium, and everything else has been brought by the stars.
Yeah.
That is the current thinking. Without that, it would just be hydrogen and helium.
Bomb or boom.
Interesting times.
They are.
Do you know that wasn't the Tuesday show that I was expecting to do at all today?
No, but it's the Unpenned Show, so...
I had no idea that it was going to look like that. I'm trying to find something to finish on that I think is appropriate. This will be turned into a YouTube video by Phil tomorrow, all being well. And all the songs and clips will be in the full podcast below on the Blog Talk link. I just found it. It's almost a bit surreal, isn't it, doing this show now?
Yeah.
About how crazy things are, and how far removed we are from seeing how crazy it is. Do you see what I mean by that?
I do, yeah.
It's who'd have thought, eh? Who'd have thought we could have got to this point? But here we are anyway. For another Tuesday, it's good night from me.
And good night from me.
Thanks to all the gang at Awake and everybody who's listening. We'll see you all next week.